Tuesday, September the 20th edition of the Carolina Weather Video. And let's start off with a look during the 5 o'clock hour this morning from the Avalon Pier web camera in the North Carolina Outer Banks. It is a wet and squally morning with the remnants of Julia still kind of raising a ruckus over that way. More on that coming up here in just a little bit. Temperatures a little bit cooler in many spots in the Piedmont and the Piedmont in the foothills. Time for another cup of coffee. The Piedmont in the foothills this morning than what we had yesterday. Dew points also a little lower, so it's a northeasterly wind to kind of taking the edge off the temperatures and dew points in many spots over the past 24 hours. Now, more on our local weather in just a moment. Let's look at the tropics. Things pretty active. You have what was once Julia, again near the Outer Banks. More on that in a moment. Newly formed Tropical Depression 13 over here in the eastern Atlantic. That one's going to stay well out to sea. And then here's Carl. Briefly got a little bit organized, looking kind of sickly again this morning. As of the latest advisory, winds listed now at 40 miles per hour, so it is weakened again overnight. However, again, I think late this work week, that's when you're going to see some strengthening of this, and this could eventually become a pretty significant hurricane. You notice up to 105 mile per hour winds here on the official National Hurricane Center forecast as this passes near or just east of Bermuda over the weekend. And the intensity modeling still being pretty aggressive with this here. Almost every model brings this to at least Category 1 hurricane intensity, and quite a few models bring this up to Category 2 or 3. And again, it's not going to threaten the U.S., it does not appear. Here's the reason why. Let me show you the big picture here across the Atlantic Basin. This is the NavGem model. This is the ridge that's steering Carl westward now. Here's the next ridge upstream. It does not get in time, so this weakness between those two ridges allows Carl to turn to the north and northeast. But again, for the interest in Bermuda, this is the Canadian model. Brings this over the weekend very close to Bermuda, as does the Hurricane Wharf. Brings Carl as a pretty decent hurricane very close to Bermuda. So again, interest in Bermuda, kind of need to keep an eye on that. Back to our local weather here in the Carolinas this morning. Here's the radar early this morning. Again, kind of a squally deal over here in the Outer Banks with the remnants of Julia. And the forecast challenge over the next couple of days is how much of this rain pivots back to the southwest. Now, here's the high-resolution modeling for today. I think it's eastern North Carolina that gets the lion's share of the rain today, but even back toward the I-85 corridor, we could see a few of those showers work back in our direction. Upper level low overhead today, and it's still playing a factor in the weather tomorrow and into Thursday before it finally kind of falls apart as we get into the weekend. So again, today, here's Futurecast. A lot of the rain staying in the eastern parts of North Carolina. There's your high temperatures this afternoon. Now, as we get into tomorrow, I want to show you this. Here's a look at Futurecast. You see some of this as the low pressure itself wobbles back southwestward. Some of those showers working back in our direction. Still not overly impressive rainfall totals toward the I-85 corridor on Futurecast. But the European model continues to indicate more rain back further to the west tomorrow. And so it is still being pretty aggressive with some rain totals across the region. This is still probably a little bit overdone, but I do think that idea of a wetter deal tomorrow has some merits. Speaking of the European model, I'll show you the idea it's advertising. There we are tomorrow, and then still on Thursday, the chance of some showers in place. All right, so let me kind of step you through the GFS modeling here. And again, it is still less impressive with the rain overall. This is today, and now there's tomorrow. Now you do get this little lobe of rain kind of move well south of Interstate 85 on the GFS modeling. Everything moving northeast to southwest tomorrow. So we'll just have to see exactly how that low pressure wobbles back to the southwest. That'll determine the orientation of the rain. Still could be a few showers around Thursday, but then I think Friday, rain chances pretty low, and the weekend itself, kind of a tricky deal here. We're going to have a cold front approach from the north. Now, this is Saturday on the GFS. There's Sunday, and by Sunday, that front on the GFS model is to the south, and you have much cooler, drier air filtering in on this big, sprawling high pressure. Now, that happens on the European model as well. It's just a day later. So here is Sunday. That's the day on the European model that front moves through, and then you have the high pressure in control for Monday. So that's a matter of debate still at this point. I think you're looking at certainly that cool high pressure building in temporarily early next week, but whether it happens for Sunday or whether it happens for Monday, still up in the air. I'm leaning toward the slightly slower solution, but we'll see. Again, that could change. All right, that is it for today's edition of the Carolina Weather Video. Thank you for watching. Everybody have a wonderful day, and God bless.